Well, thank you for staying with us, and we get into our big stories. We segue neatly from there, from that engagement of the private sector with Yao and Sako, a former executive vice president of Unilever, and what he delivered yesterday, his verdict on the Fourth Republic. I'll be sharing some of those sentiments with our guests for the morning, but we have joining us for a conversation this Wednesday morning. Again, not for lack of engaging the other side. We have the Member of Parliament for Droppa in the person of Cletus Dapilah. He joins the conversation. Mr. Dapilah, a very good morning to you, sir. Good to have you. This is the very first time we're having an engagement.
That's true.
On this platform.
That's true.
What has Cletus been up to? We've not spoken in a long while, but as far as your constituency is concerned, Droppa, I do this to every Member of Parliament who comes here.
Yeah, that's fine. Good morning once again to you and your distinguished viewers. Cletus, the name is Cletus Dapilah. Yeah, but
Cletus
Dapilah. The Dapilah is more, so.
Okay.
Honorable Dapilah.
Okay, that means I've been murdering someone's name for a long time. A colleague of mine from university back then. Okay, right.
So I'm a young politician emerging from the Upper West region, Droppa, precisely. I started party activism as a branch secretary, polling station secretary, constituency secretary. I moved up to the position of NADMO coordinator, district chief executive. Then in 2018, I failed to be the regional secretary for the Upper West region. Then I went for parliamentary primaries in 2019 and got the nod to represent the NDC party in the 2020 elections. That brought me to Parliament. I almost 3 years in Parliament. I served in the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament and the Judiciary Committee of Parliament. So basically, this work Cletus is made up of a teacher by profession who veered into accountancy, HND accounting, BBA accountancy, went to do a master's, MPhil, in a different portfolio, social administration. So that is Cletus for you.
Interesting background you have. But as far as your constituency is concerned, this is your first term?
Yes, I'm a first timer.
8th Parliament. And I'd just like to find out, what is Droppa like currently? When was the last time you went to Droppa?
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yes.
What is Droppa like? What are some of the challenges your people face? Do you have a one village, one dam project in Droppa?
It is, yeah, something like that was done somewhere in the Zapanyiri area in Droppa. That is virtually gone. It's not even in existence again. It was virtually like a duckout that the people even were very angry. It was an area that the people could do rice farming, and they came to destroy it. So they cannot do the rice farming again, and the project itself cannot be found. A very shoddy work that was done and money wasted.
As Member of Parliament, have you called for, I know there are some places in the Northern Belt where they are calling, recently we've done a lot of stories on those, on the back of our latest Hotline documentary, Thirsty Dams, where they are calling for more action in terms of that. As Member of Parliament, are you going to do that for your area on the back of this?
Yes, surely. Look, Droppa is mostly our people are predominantly farmers. It's a farming constituency. Then most of them will be very happy to have so many dams around so that they can engage in dry season farming instead of moving down south for greener pastures that doesn't even exist. So it's one thing that we are looking at. Many of them are actually into agriculture, and they love the irrigational farming because we have one season just after the one rainy season.
And that is it. You don't get the second rainy season.
You don't get the second rain to even plant. So if we have these dams available, I'm sure the youth are willing, the women are willing to make good use of it. If you go to certain areas where you have these dams, you get to realize that the people around that area and those who don't even hail within that area are making good use of the water available. for all-round season farming. You go to the Yaga area where we have the Black Volta belt. We have part of the Black Volta running through my constituency. Many of them do dry season farming, and they get good yield. They get good yield. So dams will help a lot. It will help a lot.
The dams will help a lot, and so you're going to be pushing for your constituency as well.
I will.
Let's look at surrounding matters from Parliament and others. There are so many things I want to run by you. Now I'm even wondering from where to start. But maybe we should start with your verdict on the 8th Parliament, of which you're a member. You heard recently the Deputy Speaker, first Deputy Speaker, Cletus Owusu, popularly known as Joe Wise, declare his verdict on the 8th Parliament, calling it the worst ever, if not in this Fourth Republic, on the back of some of the happenings, on the back of your side in Parliament and how you've treated this Parliament in terms of hobbling government business. In recent times, you are one of those who have not been going to Parliament, right? Every time Dr. Hasilato Forson is in court, James Jachikwason, the Asin North legislator, is in court, you boycott Parliament, and maybe later in the day, some of you go sign up, show that you were in Parliament, but you're hobbling government business. Why is that? And what would be your verdict on the 8th Parliament?
My verdict on the 8th Parliament is actually is because of the partisan nature of our Parliament. The 8th Parliament has become so partisan, and I am not very comfortable about it, because you see, political parties, MPs contest on the ticket of political parties. But I also think that the MPs should be able to, they should have their independent opinion about matters as far as our governance system is concerned. But most often than not, political parties will have to show the way for their parliamentary group or parliamentary caucus to follow. That is. Are
you saying you follow the caucus blindly, even if what is being proffered is not what you think is in the national
individually, I can express my opinion about an issue,
right?
But the collectively, I cannot.
The whip system
must work.
But it doesn't always work.
Yes, there
are breakaways. Look at, we try to say that we want to model what happens in other jurisdictions, the US, the UK. Look at what happened when the Speaker for Congress, forgotten his name, in the United States, he was being elected on the Republican end. There were so many Republicans against him. Look at the number of rounds they had to go to before he won. Would that ever happen in a Ghanaian parliament or something?
It's happened. That's why that's why we have an opposition.
I am saying the number of rounds. I mean the rigor of the process. This was a one-off thing. Look at how it went there.
Hey, but you notice a whole day for almost 24 hours running. We're struggling.
This took days, many days. I'm just saying that true. They have evolved to the point where, I'm not saying they're perfect, they're far from perfect, but they've got to the point where they can, even barring the whip system, stick to what their conscience tells them. When are we going to get to that point?
Well, we are learning. We are learning. Our democracy is young.
Still work in progress.
Yeah, it's still work in progress, because if you want to compare to the US, they started way back. We cannot even compare. But I think that we've moved far too. Even though we have the minuses, but the positives too are there. We haven't done so badly as a parliament, especially the Fourth Republic. There have been issues, there have been hitches, decisions taken by majority side. Especially, let me give you an example. When the MPP lost their bid to elect the Speaker or a member of their government to be the Speaker of Parliament, their party wasn't happy. Their grassroots people chastised them. They traded insults and all of that. In the same vein, when our party issued a statement that the NDC should not approve certain ministers, but you notice that some of those ministers were voted for. So it is to tell you that we are also learning, and we are learning to be independent from the party position, especially when we think that is the right way to go. But mostly, by and large, it is the party that lead the discussion. And that collective decision, you as an individual cannot vary it. You can't defy it. That will be betrayal to the party on whose ticket you contested.
But in terms of your verdict on this 8th Parliament, you may be a first-term parliamentarian or legislator, but some say that the expectation was so much on the back of the numbers in Parliament. The expectation was so much from this Parliament, but that you are failing as legislators to execute the mandate of the people.
You know, my brother,
no meaner person than the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Yes, I
can say you have failed.
Yes, we cannot. I would disagree with him. I disagree with him entirely because, you see, the party in which you contest elections cannot state a position for you to follow and you defy it. Now, I'm also disagreeing with him because, my brother, the quorum to do business is 92 and half. We don't have half human beings, so 93. We are good to do business. The MPP has 137 members of parliament with an independent MP 138. So at every point in time, if they are able to whip their people to be in the chamber, they can go on with business without the minority. Without the minority. The 8th Parliament, because it's a hung parliament, there have been many tactics employed by the ruling government to eliminate some members of the NDC party. And Joe Quesin is one example. Why? Joe Quesin is supposed to represent his people. Why do you put him on daily trial, denying him of that representation? If you think that the minority escorting Joe Quesin to court, we are stifling government business, and don't you think that by asking him to be in court on daily basis, you are equally denying the people of Asen North good representation in Parliament? Well, you know he's a member of Parliament. He's supposed to go to Parliament to do his parliamentary business, represent his people, but you are putting him on daily basis. You are equally denying him. So the government is to be blamed. I see it to be hypocritical on the part of government because you cannot deny a whole member of Parliament. The people selected this man. They chose him the first time. Government used all sort of tactics to get him out. He presented himself again. The party presented him again, and he won again. Then you still think
but the fact that the people voted for him a second time does not take away whatever criminal charges or criminal offenses he may have committed the first time in putting through the process for his nomination or election.
What did he do?
What did he do? I'm sure it's common knowledge to everyone.
What did he do?
And yes, the linkages will be drawn between a certain how come his name just escapes me? Adamu Dramani Sakande. And then the distinctions will be drawn in terms of this person, as of this point, even when the person became a member of Parliament, still held citizenship of another jurisdiction, when this person, to the best of his knowledge, at this point, had started the process and had before filing the nomination.
So it's based on that good faith that we think.
Which good faith?
Yeah, good faith. Quesin's case is anybody who wants to compare Quesin's case to Ademu Sekonde's case will just be
even political. The president did it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just because the person or the president is being political. Look, I denounce my renunciation as a citizen of Canada in order to represent my people.
Okay.
The Canadian government replied. You're
talking about not you. You are talking about.
I'm talking
James
about
Quesin. Right.
They received his renunciation, his application, and they replied him. And he had a reply, and they are telling him that it's because of COVID. That's why we delayed in issuing you your certificate, but your certificate will be given to you soon. So when Quesin was to file for the 2020 elections, somebody raised the issue with the EC, and the EC summoned him. Quesin went with the application he wrote, the response from the Canadian government, Then the EC cleared him to contest. EC cleared him to contest. So he didn't hide, he didn't pretend, he did not try to circumvent the system.
Do we blame the Electoral Commission in this
they
instance?
are
Because
to be blamed.
the law is the law. As of the time he was filing,
yes, I
what
understand.
processes should
but
have been followed?
He did not actually try to circumvent the system. He respected the laws of the country, and he followed due process in renouncing his Canadian citizenship.
So this whole bit about day-to-day trial,
You
and everything happening in James Jachikwasin's case. I mean, some people have cited Cecilia Dapilah, and we'll get there.
Sure.
Just hold your horses, and everything that has happened, and the AGN, how it deals with cases of a political nature from the other side, vis-a-vis how it deals with other cases. How do you feel about that?
Well.
Do you think he's being treated unfairly?
Kwasin?
Yes.
Yeah. Kwasin is not being treated fairly.
I see.
Yeah, he's not being... Take the cameras around. You get the public sentiment about Kwasin. And look, like I was explaining, if he had attempted to evade the system like Ademu Sekonde did, Sekonde, even at the time he was a member of parliament, he was a citizen to 3 countries. He never made any attempt to renounce any of them. So you can't be comparing the two. If not for political expediency, you cannot compare the two. But our opponents, our colleagues on the other side, they are quick to compare that somebody was ever punished because of that. But when the narrations are not the same, the evidence, when you put it together, you realize that yes, one acted in good faith, the other one actually tried to evade the system and was caught. In this case, my brother, there is one of the reasons why the Assembly North actually voted for Kwasin was that he's no more a citizen of Canada. So why deny him? Why are you saying he shouldn't be a member of parliament? So we'll vote for him. That's why they voted for him. So the cases, you can try to do all the gymnastics around the two cases, but if you are a very good, independent-minded person, and if you were to put the two, to get the two cases, and you analyze them, you understand how one acted in good faith and the other one tried actually to evade the laws of the country.
Let's talk about, on that same trajectory, the Domahine waded into the conversation, among others. Many people spoke to the issues, and he suggested, issue a nolle prosequi on this matter. Let it go.
Yes.
But the bit is, he's a high court judge. And in fact, now, the Judicial Council is taking him on in matters related to that instance.
This is how
the code of ethics.
This is how hypocritical this country is.
I see.
We are very hypocritical. The Domahine is a chief. He didn't speak in the court. He spoke as a traditional ruler. Just like one other judge did from the Volta regime by endorsing President Akufo-Addo's second term bid. What did we not hear in this country? He spoke as a traditional ruler. He didn't speak as a judge. So how do you come to blame Domahine, who spoke as a traditional ruler, who represented his people and said that, look, listening to the sentiment of my people, I think that the AG should enter a nolle prosequi to stop the case. He didn't say that in the courtroom. He didn't say that in the course of his duty as a judge. He said it as a traditional ruler. Why do you arraign him before the Judicial Council? That is unfair. The other one, what's his name? What's the name of the other judge? There was one that endorsed President Akufo-Addo's second bid from the Volta region. What's his name? You can help me. Is it
Honyenuga?
Yeah.
You're talking of the one who was on the Lithovit case as well, the Opuni?
Yes.
Opuni case.
Yes. I think when he spoke at that time, and people tried to raise issues about the fact that this is a judge, there were people who came out to defend him, that he was a traditional ruler. And the occasion in which he spoke, he was speaking as a traditional ruler. How different is that one from the Domahine's case?
But we also say that two wrongs do not make a right. If we want to depoliticize, hold on. If we want to depoliticize, decouple politics from traditional rule, if you like, which is what the Constitution suggests that we do, don't you think we should be shying away from this and not trying to equalize on that?
It's not politics. The man wasn't speaking politics. He didn't say that I'm NDC because of that, enter a noli prosequi. He didn't speak like my good friend and brother Sami Jefi, who is the NDC National Communication Officer, who speaks on behalf of the party. That was not what the Domahine did. He said that, look, hearing or listening to the sentiment of my people, I think that, look, let me tell you, if the MPP is wise enough, if they enter noli prosequi to stop Kwesi's case, I tell you that if they had done that immediately, Ghanaians would have seen that, look, the president is reconciliatory. The president is a listening president. The president actually, listened to the sentiments of Ghanaians. And that would have given Nana-Addo and his government some level of credibility. And the judiciary itself would have been safe of that perceived political witch hunting. The judiciary itself would have been safe of that perceived political witch hunting. And that would have even helped the MPP government going forward. But you see, if they want to be on Jachi case, Kwesi, I tell you that, look, Kwesi alone, this case alone can let the MPP, by now I'm telling you that the MPP has even lost over 20% of votes going into the 2024 elections. By what survey? By public opinion. By public
has lost 20% of votes.
Yes, they've lost
already.
They've lost already. Because I am telling you that...
Then it literally means, or virtually means, the NDC has about 60% of votes in the kitty as of now.
Very sure.
I see.
Very sure. If elections are held today, I tell you, Kwesi's case and the others alone the Ghanaians will punish the MPP for that. If elections were to be held today.
Even apart from the woes of the economy and everything else.
Yes. So I'm saying that if they listen to the likes of the Domahine, look, they are only trying to vilify the man for nothing. But if they are wise enough to listen to the Domahine, it will serve them good than bad.
Let's stay in Parliament, and maybe not necessarily Parliament, but a former lawmaker for Bantama constituency. I'm sure you know whom I'm speaking of. Cecilia Dapila. Now we hear that so the police have submitted a docket to the AG. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has waded into the matter. She was arrested by the Special Prosecutor. Bail process is going through and all of that. I have spotted a memo from the Ministry of Information, in terms of how they are going to be speaking on some of these matters. The report of suspected unexplained wealth, the reaction to her resignation, among others. But let me start off the conversation by conducting a little roll call. The $1 million club. Show your hands. My hands are not representative of. $1 million club. You might want to show your hands. Do you have $1 million? Maybe somewhere at home? Nowadays, when MPs and ministers come here, I'll conduct that roll call. Do you have $1 million sitting somewhere at home? You might as well want to say it now, so that if we find it, you will not be in any hot soup.
I don't have 1,000 cedis in the house.
You don't have 1,000?
1,000 Ghana cedis. I don't have.
Hey!
In the house.
Eja?
I am telling you, I don't have.
You say you don't even have $1,000 cedis at home?
Cedis, 1,000 cedis.
So you keep it at the bank?
I'm not sure I even have it at the bank.
Hey!
I am telling you.
You don't have even 1,000 cedis at the bank?
I don't have it.
Massa, this one.
Oh, my brother. One. Why? You don't know the times in which we are in.
We are in tough times.
Yeah, so don't be surprised no. When I don't have
what is even your salary as a member of Parliament? What is your salary?
Salary as, look, let me be very honest with you. Most MPs are not very happy about their salary situation.
Most MPs are not happy about their salary situation.
The leadership of Parliament is aware of this, both sides, and every other MP, whether majority, minority, they are not very happy about their salary situation. The MPs, the MP salary is for everybody. The MP salary is not just for the MP. However money the MP is paid, it's still for everybody. But
when you say it's for everybody, you're talking about the pressures on a legislator.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but the fact too is, You, as members of parliament, you have also fed into that narrative. You have created a narrative. So people who ordinarily should be going to the proper agents of development, the DCE and the MCE, end up coming to you.
That is true.
But that doesn't take away the fact that you earn what you do. So let's break it down. Averagely, as a member of parliament, you are not earning anything less than 8,000 cedis. You're earning more than that.
Yeah,
you're earning far more than that.
Let's say 10,000.
Yeah, you're earning far more than that. How many
10,
people in this country can boast of earning 10,000 cedis?
That's what I'm saying. Some people don't even get it because of the deductions on their on loans and all of that.
Right, so but we're talking about the basic.
Yeah, the basic.
Okay, it doesn't matter. As for the others...
So now, let me tell you something.
You pay me, like I have, it's your own wahala.
You pay me, government pays me 10,000 a month.
Right.
I'm from the Droppa constituency. If I to fuel my car to the constituency, in and out, you're talking of 5,000 or more.
5,000 Ghana?
Yes. In and out. That is even if
you could use public transport.
Well, it depends.
It's an option.
It's the agency of the situation. As I'm here, I can be called. I can be called to attend to a situation in the constituency. I cannot, the buses move in the evening to Droppa. If I'm to wait in the evening to go and board the bus to go, then it means I'm not going to solve the problem. So that is how bad the situation is. I pay my driver, I buy my fuel, I service my car. So that is how the situation is.
How then do you make it? Are you saying if I were to shake you right now and shake your mobile money account right now, wouldn't find even 1,000 cedis in there?
I'm not too sure you will get. I'm being very honest.
So bank accounts, mobile money.
I'm being honest with
you. You are saying that you will not even. And I said, if you people are in that state, then the rest of us, what should we do?
That's why I'm telling you the magnitude of this hardship in this country. If you want, go to Parliament. Let them interview the MPs. Let them interview the MPs, and they will tell you.
Are you speaking for minority MPs or
both? Sometimes, as minority MP, you are even better because people will even sympathize with you. Your party is not in government. Their party is in government. Why? Few of them are the ones enjoying. They are our friends. We talk, we interact. We know how they feel. Mostly, you see, some don't even virtually have money to fuel their cars to work. Oh, my brother, if you are going past by my house and pick me, or let me get something to buy fuel so that I can come to Parliament the next day. That is how bad the situation is.
You have majority MPs sometimes reaching to you for that.
They reach to their friends. They are reaching to their friends.
Tell me, what would be an adequate? What do you feel would be adequate by way of salary in these times? Contextualizing everything for a member of Parliament.
I think that the member of Parliament, probably government should look at how to absorb, salaries of their drivers, service their cars for them. If they absorb those allowances, those things, even it will help. It will help.
So basically, if you had to peg that, you know how much you pay your driver.
Like what they do to ministers.
Right. You know how much you pay your driver.
Yeah.
You know how much you spend on the vehicle, maintenance and all of that, and all those other related or concomitant costs. If you put that together, would you say, let's say, 14,000, 15,000, 20,000 would be adequate? I want us to bring it down to the bare bones.
Well, I don't want to sit here and assume that MP should be paid this amount of money. But I think that the discussion about MP salaries should be something that government should look at. Leadership of Parliament should look at it and take, collective decision as to what they can. They know what they can do to cushion MPs to be relevant in terms of their functions. If they really want MPs to work very well, my brother, that's why you see most of us being sick. One time I went to visit one MP, then I saw him taking BP medicine, and I was like, my leader, you have BP. He said, Cletus, can you do this job without BP? And I'm like, wow. So it means that the next few years, Cletus is going to develop BP. That's what it means. It's a pressure. It's a pressure that demands. My brother, most of the times, what weighs us down is not the community development. It's not the mass development. It is the individual development, the individual demands that weighs us down. That weighs us down because, look, those who came to Parliament 93, 96, 2000, 2004, even 2008, They got it rosy a bit. Now there is social media. What is that? Radio stations are all over. Mobile money is there and all of that. So you sit down, you open your phone. What you get is that the request comes with the mode of how you will send the money. He makes the request straight away. This is my Momo number. And you are obliged to send the money, whether you have it or not.
So how do you deal with that?
That is why.
With your limited resources. Are you a businessman?
That's why I'm telling you that. That's why I'm telling you that. When such request comes, you fall on probably your 10,000 salary. It's gone.
You have your common fund. What do you do with it?
That's what I'm saying. Some of the issues that somebody is in the hospital. Somebody is in the hospital that he can't foot his bills. He reached out to the MP. I'm being hostage in the hospital. They've discharged me. I cannot pay. When will you go to raise a memo to the assembly for them to approve so that the person can be discharged?
But you must justify the expenditure.
You have to justify it. Even the common fund itself, it doesn't come. It's not more common these days. Government is not able to release common fund like before.
When was the last time you got your common fund payment?
Oh, the last quarter, 2022, right. Last quarter was just paid last month.
So it means for this entire year,
no,
you've not received.
They've not paid projects. They've not paid common fund for projects.
So on the back of all these things you're telling me, did you find it shocking that in a former minister's house, Cecily Abnadape's house, 1 million could go missing without, so to speak, they're realizing it until about $1 million, 300,000 euros, and a lot of kente jewelry worth about $95,000, suits and all of that gone missing. And let's be very factual about this situation.
Let me tell you something. One big problem of this country is our ability to fight corruption. Corruption is a canker that has made it impossible for us to get the needed development that we should have. And I am so disappointed with how corruption and corruption-related issues are being dealt with under this administration. Look, let me also caution that many of our so-called, affluent people or people who are doing very well in society, when they engage these housemates, look, I'm surprised that somebody, you and your husband's bedroom, you allow a stranger to go in there to clean. The bedroom is the only secret place in the entire big house, the master bedroom. So even as a wife of a president, as a wife of the vice president, as a wife of a minister who is married, I think that at least just a Saturday you spend, or a Sunday you spend just 30 minutes, 1 hour to clean your bedroom. It's not a bad idea. It's even exercise. You have to exercise too. Look, if the housemates, if they were not entering the room and cleaning, they wouldn't know that this is where the woman keeps money, where they would then go and devise ways and means of stealing the money. So in as much as we think that monies were stolen, the question many people are asking is that, where did she get this money from? And why is the money not in the bank? To the extent that the woman can keep so much money in the house that if you read the story and follow the story very well, these monies were being taken within a period of 4 months without them knowing. That means there's a lot of money lying somewhere in their bedroom that this housemate devised ways and means of picking this money up to the tune that they picked without them knowing, until when the husband was returning to pick something in the house and caught one of them in the room. That is when they suspected that they needed to check. They then started checking to see what went wrong and all of that. Then they got to realize that, look, A, B, C, D amount of money wasn't there. Look, it is a disgrace to politicians. Madam Cecily Adapa has lost her integrity. Understand she works so well.
Wait, she's lost her integrity?
Yeah, she lost it.
How?
Not just
the president,
yes.
in accepting her resignation.
I am telling you that she should have been fired.
Mentions
under such
that,
circumstances.
in fact, he mentions how sad he was.
Yes,
and then he makes mention of the fact that her integrity will be established.
That is when many people think that the president's ability to fight corruption is questionable. You cannot. The woman should have been fired. Should have sacked the woman. Should have asked the woman to step aside immediately. You don't give him the laxity to resign. Even in the woman's resignation letter, look at the communication. It wasn't formal. My dear Mr. President, blah, 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 blah. And the president's acceptance letter, I believe your integrity will be established. The woman doesn't have any integrity. There's no integrity. You cannot. I am saying that.
But wait, Cletus.
Yes.
Put yourself in her shoes.
Yes.
Let's hasten slowly.
Yes.
Put yourself in her shoes.
Yeah.
Some members of the MPP have said, and legitimately so, land in East Legon, Adregano, Jowulu, certain parts of the country can easily sell for those sums of money. There has been talk about funeral donations and all of that. You are also not suggesting, especially with her husband as an architect. My father was an architect engineer, though that is a long time ago, he passed. You are not suggesting that after all these years of labor, maybe they cannot come up with that sum of money, or that because of this, even without the processes having been seen through, you are declaring her guilty.
I am saying that because as a political exposed person, you cannot keep such amount of money in your bedroom. I wanted Madame Dapilah by now to have probably granted interview to tell us that this is the source of the money.
And I've been patiently waiting for that too.
Yes, she's not saying anything. And she cannot, I am telling you, my brother, this woman cannot account for this money. This money cannot be accounted for. If they were genuine money being worked for, I'm telling you, they'll be sitting in the banks. It's because they are unexplained wealth, unacquired wealth.
So you're basically saying that
let me tell you, anybody who work, anybody who genuinely work for money in this country, those monies are sitting in the banks. Nobody will work for money genuinely and go keep them in his bedroom. Nobody will do that. You can keep money that probably you can use for your day-to-day running of the house and other stuff. But to keep that chunk of money in her bedroom is filthy money. It's unexplained money. It's money she acquired dubiously. That's why.
So you're saying that any politician, NDC or NPP, who has a lump sum of money sitting at home. Now, mind you, hold on. Some of you run campaigns, especially on the back of the primaries and all of that happened. Some of you would have kept some money within reach at home, because you know that there are limits to even how much you can withdraw, even in dollar denominations or foreign currency and all of that. And some of you, with the things you do, if you need money quickly and the bank is now telling you it will take you X number of days to withdraw the sum of money. I mean, isn't it only practical? I'm just saying, maybe not to the tune of what she was keeping at home. But some of you, members of parliament, ministers, you will keep some lump sums at home, right?
Well, if you are being caught, just like Madam Cecilia Dapilah, you will be called out. You have to explain to us how you get that money from. I am not saying that she is the only one. She is even, the ministry she is handling is just sanitation ministry. If you were to go around to other ministers' houses and to see what amounts of money they are keeping there, you cry. Maybe Ghana wouldn't even have gone to the IMF. The ministers alone could probably, if they are to gather their monies together, monies they've acquired, monies they've got since they became ministers, chief executives, and all of that, board chairman, if they were to put those monies together, Ghana wouldn't go to IMF.
I've heard the story of someone, we say, we have this term, usikanashi, someone who literally, a minister in this country, and of course I cannot spill, but if anybody dares to, then we would have to say things. Usikanashi, in foreign currency, like for real, burning. Well, I've also heard of someone from a very reliable source who had his V8 stolen. V8, I'm talking of the kinds of vehicles you use, very expensive ones, over $200,000 thereabouts, depending on what specifications you have. Within a week, this person purchased another one. Ask yourself. So it's a bit surprising when you tell me you don't even have 1,000 CDs in close proximity. But let's get back to Cecilia Dapilah. If such unexplained wealth can be found in political circles, whether with the minority or the majority, you're both, politically exposed people. You're all politicians. What signal then does that send? Some have said that unwittingly, Cecilia Dapilah has told ordinary Ghanaians, when we spoke to the tax people and economists, that, you know what, there's something. So don't take your money to the banks or don't take your money here and there because maybe there's something you don't know. That is why we are keeping our money at home, which in effect also will affect the financial system, which already is bleeding. It also poorly reflects on politicians. How much damage does this do to the financial system and to you as politicians? Because now some of you may even be targets. Your gardeners and staff will now be looking at you. Charlie, what do you have in your room?
Very sure. Let me tell you something. Generally, politicians are perceived to be corrupt people. Politicians, when we are walking, when we dress nicely, we sit in our Land Cruisers, but many Ghanaians see us to be very corrupt. All that you hear is that, you are the ones chopping Ghana's money. That is a perception, whether real or not. That is what is out there. So when issues like this is in the public domain, no politician is spared, particularly the government of the day that is supposed to fight corruption. The political will to fight corruption is the problem of Ghana, particularly within the current administration. They have not shown the resilience in fighting corruption. Look, you heard of, Vicky Hammer, who just had a wishful thinking of $1 million.
And rightly so. She was sacked. Rightly so.
So that's why I'm saying that this woman who even got the space or the time to even write a resignation letter, the president should have fired her and called for arrest immediately. But this issue dragged from last week, Thursday, to Friday, up to the Saturday, Sunday. Then Monday, we then heard special prosecutor coming in. To do what? What will they do? Nothing.
Do you feel the president, by what he said, has already compromised the case?
That is very true. The president did not.
But he's not going to sit on the matter.
No, he's not a judge in this instance. But he is not the special prosecutor. He's the final arbiter. He's the one. If you check, the president is being tagged as a clearing agent in most of the corrupt or corruption-related issues that has come to his notice. And this is not the first time. Many of the issues, before the committee will even start work, the president will clear the person. That's why people have nicknamed him, they've nicknamed him as clearing agent. And what he just did again shows that he's already compromised whatever investigations that the OSP is going to do. And I even think that nothing will come out of it. At the end of the day, all monies being retrieved from this woman will be given to her. And this case will die a natural death. And that is the man, President Akufo-Addo, ruling. It's nothing will come out of it, my brother. Nothing, absolutely nothing. It's just that the worry of many MPP members are that the woman didn't do well because she has brought disgrace to their government. The entire government machinery is suffering it. Even if you look at the woman, her resignation letter, she herself said that she's resigning not because she's guilty, but she's resigning because she doesn't want what has happened to have a toll on government, especially going into the 2024 elections. That is what the woman says. A woman that should have been fired. It was President Mahama by now, she is gone. She would have been sacked and investigations would have commenced immediately.
What does this say about...
I'm even told, I listened to TV3 and they said that even when the OSP still went to the house, they still founded money there that they took hours to count the money.
Well, that we cannot confirm. It wasn't on this platform.
It wasn't on this platform. That's why I'm mentioning the platform that I heard it.
Right. What does this say then about our asset declaration regime?
It's bogus.
Hold on. Our asset declaration regime, because obviously we need to know what she declared as her assets and notes the discrepancies between what she said she had and what she now has, and all the other exigencies in between. And what does it also show about the honesty of politicians, those in power, like you rightly said? And there have been suggestions, I will not mention names, that if you were to go into the houses and rooms, look, you know, someone who, let's say, worked in school, you graduated from school almost together. The person had virtually not done any work, went into politics, became a member of parliament or something. All of a sudden, I mean, you are doing a well-paying job, sort of, maybe earning some 5, 6, 7,000. Yet this person has put up 2 buildings, 3 buildings. The person owns real estate. The person owns a radio station, a TV station. The person is driving in all sorts of cars. And you ask yourself, wait, on your salary, you say you don't even have 1,000 CDs. I still find that a bit suspicious. But how do you guys do it? Is there a magic wand you wave? Is there something we do not know that the ordinary Ghanaian can also do? Or is it that all of you are simply
the same?
Corrupt, all of you.
The truth is that corruption itself is in the DNA of almost every Ghanaian. Ghanaians...
Practically every human being. But...
Yes.
Like we say, opportunity makes the thief. But the other bit too is there are people with a conscience. And some of them will not venture into politics because it's been tainted.
How many are those people? Look, I was a district chief executive for the Droppa constituency. When we left office in 2017, I was riding a motorbike. I didn't have a house to myself. I was being lambasted and insulted. Don't mind, he's a foolish boy. He went in there to just work and work. Now he doesn't have anything. He's now riding motorbike.
Yeah, that is part of the vicious cycle.
So that is how society will come at us, the politician, when you are not able to do A, B, C, D. Now, when you do it too, then the same society will cry foul. So that is the hypocritical nature of our society. We look, the fact that you are a minister, that doesn't mean that you should be rich overnight. No, it doesn't mean that you should be rich overnight. The fact that you are district chief executive or government appointee, that doesn't mean that you should be rich overnight. But that is what society itself wants to see. That's what society itself wants to see. So society is part of the problem. But in all this sense, the presidency or the president or the government of the day should have the ability to fight corruption, should have the ability to put your own appointees under investigations and subsequently prosecution. Let us don't do it with politics. It shouldn't be selective. That selective justice is what I don't like, is what I frown against. If you are a president, let me tell you, one of the MPP campaign on the doorsteps of corruption in the 2015-2016 election and the economy.
The use of the Anas principle and all of that.
They will use the Anas principle, the Wyoming case, you remember. Today, when you hear of corruption-related cases and monies that are involved, Wyoming money is just a peanut, isn't it? But
what is wrong is wrong.
Yeah, what is wrong is wrong. But I'm just saying that when you hear of corruption-related cases under this administration, the amount of money, the quantum of monies that are involved, if you were to think of the Wyoming money, you would say Wyoming money is just a peanut.
Are you suggesting, just clarify this for me, throughout this Fourth Republic, the Rawlings administration was branded with corruption, painted with the brush of corruption at a point? Kufuor, same. In fact, he said at a point that corruption had been with us since the days of Adam. Then we had Atta Mills. Even the saintly Atta Mills was painted with the brush of corruption. His administration. Mahama came, same. And now Akufo-Addo, same. Where do you think, if there were a ranking, a league log of corrupt administrations, where would this Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration rank?
Let me. I don't want to be biased, but I just wish that you can have independent persons to analyze all the regimes in terms of how they fought corruption. And I tell you that you come to vindicate President Mahama. Nana Addo is one person. One of the reasons why many people voted for Nana Addo was people hail him in high esteem and believe that he is somebody that could stand and fight corruption. People, if Nana Addo didn't get the opportunity to rule Ghana, even in his death, people would have still been talking good about him. The fact that there was a good person who could help this country and never had the opportunity. But all that is drill. All that is drill because he had the opportunity. He's not being able to do it the way people expected him to do it. You know, look, one bad thing. Any president will not be able to fight corruption if you make some relatives around you, if you appoint them into your government, you will not be able to fight corruption. That is one weakness of this system. That's one weakness of this system. The relatives are too many in the government.
Nepotism,
yes,
cronyism.
Nepotism, cronyism is the basis for corruption because my cousin is the one involved in this deal. Do I let the law take him on? And what do I tell the family? The family will come at me. You've made them imprison your own brother. So if the person wasn't your brother, if the person wasn't your cousin, the person wasn't your wife's relative, you could deal with it. So it's one of the problems of this administration. And I'm not surprised all these things are happening. It will happen because when you put in so many known and friends and relatives into your government, it will be difficult for you to crack the whip.
I guess that feeds into the rhetoric of economist Dr. Samankra, who says anti-corruption measures are not yielding any results.
Let me add that. I'm one person who was against the creation of the OSP office. I said it was coming to, it's just duplication of function. It won't do nothing. It will not do anything. Look, one anti-corruption agency can be empowered to deal with corruption and corruption-related issues in this country.
Which is
any of them, even the CID, the IOCO. They're all there. The charge. Charge is a creation of the Constitution. Charge alone can deal with corruption in this country. But will we allow them to do their work independently? No. Because that's why I have a problem with the Constitution, how the Constitution was couched. I think that it's about time we review the 1992 Constitution. We need to amend some of the provisions. We need to amend them.
We have to amend some provisions in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana.
Look, otherwise, we cannot even fight this corruption.
All right. Quickly, I want us to move away from Cecilia Dapilah and address other issues before we cap off the conversation. But on Cecilia Dapilah, just to wrap very briefly, you have expressed your pessimism about anything proper happening, that in terms of a refund of any funds, of course, there would even have to be a process to establish how she secured those funds, and then if she secured them through any improper ways, it is innocent until proven guilty in our jurisdiction, then the legal processes will follow. What more do you want to see? She's been arrested, so to speak, by the OSP, given bail. There are others that have waded into this conversation. What would your expectations be of the Attorney General, for example, from the OSP? I mean, what do you think, properly speaking, should happen?
I don't expect anything to happen. I don't expect anything to happen. Nothing will happen.
But I'm saying, properly speaking, what do you say?
I'm just telling you nothing will happen. This thing is they are going to massage it from the OSP, the Attorney General levels, from the presidency. 3 cabals, and she will be free.
OSP, Attorney General, presidency. You say 3 cabals.
3 cabals, and this case...
Okay, so let me put it differently.
Won't hear of it again.
Should the NDC come to power, you've also been brushed with a paintbrush of corruption. Should your party come to power, how would you address issues like this one? And even retrospectively, the law isn't retrospective in certain cases, but of course, some cases, once they happen, you could always have the legal dynamic. How would you address such issues? Assuming your party comes to power, how would you address it?
Well, let me just say that I've given you an example of what President Mahama did when somebody was just even daydreaming of making $1 million. He said, look, this lady can be tempted to be corrupt in the ministry. Let's get her out. Let's get her out. And she she was sacked. You understand? So I'm saying that we have the record in fighting corruption, and we will fight corruption. Remember the JIDA issue when it came out. It was the same President Mahama who commenced investigation into the Abu Gapele issue where he was finally convicted. This is how you demonstrate your fight against corruption as a leader. That political will, the commitment. Don't come and be like, let me prosecute NDC members. And when NDC is in power, let me prosecute MPP members. If we are doing it that way, we will never get it right. We'll never get it right. So I'm saying that I don't even want to answer your question, but what I just want to say is that as a president, as a leader, you should have the ability to fight corruption. If you cannot do it, you have no business ruling. You have no business serving the country. Because you cannot rule if you are so weak in fighting corruption. Because that is the problem in Africa. Corruption or all over the world, it is one thing that any president will fight for them to know that you have the capacity to rule.
What legacy then do you feel Nana Addo Akufo-Addo will leave behind on the terrain of corruption? If you had to score him over 10, what score would you give him in the fight against corruption?
3 over 10. 3 over 10. Even many MPP stalwarts can testify that Nana Addo has failed in his fight against corruption.
Thank you.
Starting from galamsey issues, starting from so many things. I don't want to mention. So many of them.
Let's get to a related matter. You've spoken about the need to review certain aspects of the 1992 Constitution. A former executive vice president of Unilever, Yaw Sako, was speaking yesterday. He delivered a paper at the British Council titled Towards a Mindset Revolution, Ghana Beyond Neoliberal Capitalism. And some of the things he says, he labeled the Fourth Republican experiment, if you like, and its democracy as a miracle that led to nowhere. He also says the political landscape is a merry-go-round of miracles. Basically, it's like that charlatanism that we see on the streets. You could get easily ripped off. In simple terms, our democracy is a democracy. It doesn't make any sense, and it has ripped us off expectations. We have fallen to confidence tricksters, so to speak, throughout the Fourth Republic. Is this something you agree with?
Well, I agree. I agree with him to a level, to some extent, because if you were to evaluate the Fourth Republic very well, I think we've chalked some successes, but by and large, we failed the country. We've not been able to do well, and I totally agree with him. And I've said that the Constitution is the bane of our problem now. Because if you look at, we now have to look at the way we behave, our attitude, and carve a Constitution that will keep all this corruption and corruption-related, or one's ability to indulge in corruption. The Constitution should be able to deal with that. And let me give you an example. The composition of the police council, if you look at it, is political. It's political. The Constitution should not allow the president to appoint an IGP. I think that to become an IGP or any commander or any big person in the security agencies, you should get it on merit, climb through the ladder and get there. But it shouldn't be that I have to do somebody's bidding in order to be appointed IGP. That is why even in the security agencies, there's so much politics going on there. Go to the ministries, the local government service, the civil service, the public service, where these people should come and work independently to propel government development, government progress. All of them are tempted to be political affiliated. Because if you are not affiliated politically, you cannot survive it. You cannot survive. That is how polarized the system is. So if we don't review the Constitution, so that the chief director at a particular ministry cannot be removed by the minister. A minister is coming to take over a ministry. He says that I don't want to work with this chief director. I'm bringing my chief director. I want this person to be the internal auditor. I want this person to be the accountant. Is it not corruption? So that the grounds can be fertile for him to do what he wants to do. That is the kind of system we are operating. And that's why I think that we need to go back to the drawing board, review the Constitution, looking at the nature, the way we behave, our thinking as Ghanaians. We need to carve a Constitution that will curtail all this nonsense in the system. That is the reason why I think that the police council, if if, let's take recently the leak tape that is ongoing. Why will an individual want the IGP to be out? Because he thinks the IGP is pro-NDC. Why?
They didn't say he was pro-NDC, but that he was not malleable to manipulation,
yes, so
which would allow for the rigging of the election.
That is it. That is how that COP Mensa is looking at it. So he thinks that the IGP should be ousted.
Let's leave names out. So that's COP. Let's leave
no, we shouldn't.
Let's just.
I'm sure
let's just leave it at COP.
You know that COP or that Alex Mensa. And me, I'll mention the name because that's what happened.
I would encourage you to just mention.
So what I'm trying to say is that if you go to look at the composition of the police council, look at who appoints what. Even promotions within the service is being done by the presidency. So somebody thinks that...
And the vice president... in charge of that
the police council. All of this will make these institutions political.
I feel part of why we are where we are is because we have an executive that is overweening, overbearing, too powerful.
Everything is political.
And that is problematic.
Even the so-called independent state institution.
Right.
I am telling you that they are being helplessly manipulated by the government of the day.
All right.
Is because of how the constitution
we have to wrap up. Let me get into some other issues, but I have a message for you. The person wants me to mention the name. I will not. But it says, "Good morning, sir. Please tell Honorable that I need his help. I'm a driver and I want him to help me with a smartphone so that I can get into a boat driving job. My name is," I will not mention. If you mention my name, he will know where I come from. And he even adds this number, just like you said with some of the requests that come through. Interesting. I don't know how you guys do it, but you must be magicians. To wrap off the conversation, I want us to just take a quick look at these issues. Two of them from Parliament. The mid-year budgetary review, which has been delayed, and the surrounding issues, and then the repeal of the death penalty. I don't know where you stood on that conversation, but it has been scrapped. A life imprisonment will do. And if you can just manage this in 2 minutes, I'd be grateful. The Adisadel beating incident. Any thoughts?
I think that the mid-year budget review is many Ghanaians are expecting the finance minister to come and then read the mid-year review. I understand it's coming on Monday. That the Minister of Finance is coming to read the mid-year budget review for us. But, my brother, what is going to come out of it? Nothing. Nothing because exchange rate is still a problem. Inflation is a problem. Debt to GDP is worsening every day. Fuel prices is worsening every day. And these are the situation in which we are. These indicators are not too good for the MPP because the President Mahama record on all these sectors, inflation, exchange rate, debt to GDP, fuel prices, and all of that is far better than what we are experiencing now. That is why now, if you look at the MPP presidential campaign, almost all of them are running away from their own record. Almost all of them. It tells you how bad they have performed. That is why all of them are running away from their own record. You heard one says that a strategist under Mahama, dollar was 4 cedis, yet we call Mahama out. Today, dollar is 12 cedis. And you call yourself a strategist. Strategist, my foot. That is how bad the situation is. You won't hear of the economic management team again. Yamutu is dead. All of them that were touted, the names that were being mentioned, all of them have run away from economic management team.
Right.
You understand? So for me, nothing will come out of this mid-year budget review. It won't solve our problems. The only reason why the dollar or the dollar has reduced, the exchange rate, the dollar rate has reduced just small, is because government is not meeting its obligation by paying contractors.
Right, that has been made mention of.
Yes.
The death penalty, are you in support
of the death penalty, honestly, as an individual, I don't support it. I don't support it.
So you're happy it's been scrapped?
No, I'm not happy.
You're not happy?
Yeah, I'm not happy.
You think the death penalty should have remained?
No, it should have remained. And the president, the reason why the proponent of the cancellation or abolition of the death penalty talked about, the reason they gave was that no president since the Fourth Republic has signed for anybody to be executed.
Right.
But that is
just one of the reasons.
That is when we should have stand up to any president. If you know you cannot actually do your work, it's part of your work. You sworn an oath to be the president of the republic. So if somebody is being sentenced by death, you are supposed to sign. That is part of your work. So it means that since the Fourth Republic, once no president has signed, put his signature for anybody to be executed, it means they've not
even a former military leader, Jerry John Rawlings, did not do it.
That's what I'm saying.
And it sends a certain signal. I mean, the world is moving in a certain direction.
Look, let me tell you something. The death penalty sitting on our books, it doesn't eat anything. It doesn't cost anything. I can tell you, it deters people. It deters people from even committing crime. We shouldn't be surprised.
Now you think we've lost that deterrent?
We've lost that deterrent. We shouldn't be surprised if people started killing people by heart and knowing that I'll be in prison for life and government will be feeding me.
Okay.
And that is another cost.
Do you have any quick thoughts? Finally, the Adesado bullying video. Have you seen it?
Well, I saw it, and I'm happy about the actions being taken by the Ghana Education Service. Let me commend them. Already I understand they've taken action. The boys have been expelled from school and investigation is still ongoing. You see, let me also caution the house.
Were you a boarder?
Yes, I was a boarder. But
which school?
Laura Secondary School in the Upper West region. I think that bullying in secondary school, what we saw there, that is not bullying.
Right.
That is not bullying. That senior was just being wicked and just wanted to commit murder to that innocent boy. That's not bullying. What we all know about bullying is just the funny things. Oh, go and fetch water. Go, kneel down here. Blah, blah. Those simple things. That's what we call bullying. But bullying to the extent of you hitting at a junior when the guy was sophisticating, his eyes, there were scratches all over his body.
He hit his head on the trunk or the bunker.
You don't do that. That's not bullying. That's wickedness. The guy was about to commit murder. And assuming if people were not to be around. So housemasters, senior housemasters, housemistress, they should keep an eye on these students. They should monitor. Monitoring of these students is very, very important.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. Cletus Owusu, Dapilah. He's Member of Parliament for Droppa, and he joined us this morning all the way from the Upper West region. Not that he's been there. It's been 2 weeks, you said. Yeah. About 2 weeks since you last went there. Thank you. It's been quite a conversation. First time engaging you here.